Hello guys. So this is a video that will cover some of the main feedback that I had over your literacy narratives. I've graded all the ones that have been turned in so far, and they were really good. You guys did a very good job on this. Most of you really clearly understood the assignment and added a lot of good detail. My fear going into this was that I'd miss something because of the disconnect between you guys being at home and me being at home and trying to teach this way, but you guys really nailed this, and I'm really proud of you guys for that. So these are some main things to look for that people had trouble with on this paper. I'm just going to go through these really quickly and try to give you guys examples of what I mean and what I'm asking for you guys to correct. And then once this video is up, you'll have a week to go back and do rewrites and complete a final version of this paper. Okay, so first of all, there was missing commas that I saw a lot. There's three ways that I saw you guys missing commas. The first was after introductory words, phrases, and dependent clauses. So anytime you have a sentence that starts with something that isn't an independent clause, that could be a word like unfortunately. That could be a phrase like on the other hand. And that could be a just complete dependent clause like, here, let me fix this. So none of these are complete sentences, and so if we start none of them are independent clauses. So if we start a sentence with one of these, we have to have a comma after it before we have the rest of our sentence. Let's see. Okay, so those are completed now. Unfortunately, comma, I can't make it tonight. I can't make it tonight here is an independent clause. Unfortunately is a introductory word. That is a word that doesn't need to be there. It's just adding some emphasis, and because it's starting the sentence off with something that doesn't need to be there, we need a comma after it. On the other hand, maybe I can come for a while. So maybe I can come for a while, again, is an independent clause. It could stand on its own. We could just make that the sentence and it would be fine. But we are trying to transition from whatever we were saying before. And so we put on the other hand at the beginning of this. And because this is at the beginning of the sentence, we have this introductory phrase. We need a comma after it. And then this one is a dependent clause. On my way to the store, I saw a dog. I saw a dog is an independent clause. On my way to the store is not an independent clause. It's an incomplete thought fragment if it was by itself. And so because it's starting the sentence off with that, we need a comma to go after it. Now if we reverse these, if we wrote them in the opposite order, if we wrote them that way, we don't actually need commas. Naturally, in a sentence, you expect the independent clause to come first, and the dependent clause or the whatever else is added on to come after that. And if you start off with an independent clause, then you don't need to add commas to connect it to other stuff. If you start off with a dependent clause or with an introductory word or phrase, then you need a comma connecting it at the beginning. All right, So, yeah, next reason that's... okay, we're still on commas. So the next kind of comma mistake I saw a lot of times was connecting independent clauses with a fanboys. Fanboys are for and nor but for yet but or yet so. For and nor but or yet so. These are what you call coordinating conjunctions, and they're coordinating different parts of a sentence. Sometimes they're coordinating information that is just added onto a sentence, and sometimes they are taking two things that could be complete sentences and putting them together. So this is an example of two independent clauses connected by a fanboys. My dog ran. That could be a sentence all by itself, a very short sentence, but it would work. My cat slept. That could be a sentence all by itself. Again, very short. These are both independent clauses, so they can stand on their own. So when we connect them together with a fanboys, in this case and, we need a comma before the fanboys to show separation there. Now, we wouldn't need a comma if we wrote this instead. My dog ran is an independent clause, but slept is not an independent clause. It's a dependent clause. So adding it there, we don't actually need a comma. You just need a comma if you're adding independent clauses together. And then offsetting extra information. Okay. If you have extra information in your sentence that doesn't need to be there, that isn't important to understanding the sentence, then you put commas around it to show that it's extra information. So in this case, my dog, whose name is Freddy, is cute, right? So my dog is cute would be a good sentence all on its own. That could work all by itself. And since we're breaking that up with some extra information, telling people that his name is Freddy, we need to put commas around that. Now, if we if we're identifying a specific dog in this case, if we are giving information that is vital to understanding the situation, then we don't use commas. Excuse me just a second. Okay, so this could be an example of a time when we wouldn't use commas to offset extra information. That dog in the red sweater is Freddy. So in this case, we're identifying a specific dog. The one dog among a bunch of dogs that's in a red sweater is our dog Freddy. So we don't have to offset that with commas. All right, that's enough commas for now. Another issue that came up a bunch of times in this paper was run-on sentences and comma splices. That's totally normal. Lots of freshmen end up with problems like that. So the hard part of this is identifying where sentences need to actually stop and end. So a run-on sentence would kind of look like this. This is a very short example. My dog ran, my cat slept. So my dog ran, same independent clause we were using as an example before. My cat slept, again, an independent clause just like before. And both of those could be complete sentences on their own. You wouldn't necessarily want to write sentences this short all the time, but you can. All you need to do is punctuate it like complete sentences, like so. Another way to fix that, you could add a semicolon. You don't want to use semicolons a lot, but maybe like once a page you can have a semicolon. And lastly, the best way to do it is the same way that we did before. So this time we've added a fanboys, my dog ran, comma, and my cat slept. Okay. So if you're making a lot of run-ons, again, that's just going to be an issue of trying to figure out where sentences need to start and end. The reason that this is an independent clause all by itself is because it has a subject, an action, and it is a complete thought all by itself. My dog ran, right? My cat slept. Again, a complete thought all by itself. Subject is the cat, slept is the action. So if you have a complete thought like that all by itself, you can't just connect it to another one without any kind of punctuation, because then it's a run-on sentence. And this is a thing that you sort of have to learn with practice a lot of times. This is one of those things that just requires practice to learn if you're having trouble with it. If you are having trouble with it, I probably sent you a video that goes into more details about how to fix run-ons. Comma splices are similar, but usually what that means is that you know where the sentence needs to start and end, but you're just ending it the wrong way. So, my dog ran, comma, my cat slept. Again, these are independent clauses. They can completely stand on their own. They can't be they can't just be connected without any punctuation, and they can't just be connected with a comma, because that's not what commas are for. If you have an independent clause by itself next to another independent clause, you'd usually use a period or something like that to separate them out. So yeah, these are the same problem, but they're easier to fix because it means that you know where the parts in the sentence need to be broken up. You just need to get used to where you need to use commas and where you need to use periods. All right. Fragments. I saw a few people making fragments. Lots of people make fragments. That's not a big deal. But usually the reason that people are making fragments is where they're doing something like this. So, this is an example of a fragment where the second part here that's punctuated as a sentence is really a continuation of the first sentence. My dog ran, period, and slept, period. Now, as you saw before, this would just naturally be a sentence all by itself. And sometimes when we're writing really quickly, we'll sort of have ideas that pop into our heads to add on to a sentence. And we'll add them on without going back and making sure that the sentence makes sense. The way to fix most of these is just to read over it again. Most of you guys obviously know what a complete sentence should look like, and you showed that in your papers. And if you're making a couple of these, it probably means that you're just not checking over your work at the end and looking to see where the complete sentences need to be. But you can tell with this one that this "and slept" isn't a complete sentence. It doesn't have a subject. The subject is from the previous sentence. So you could fix this by saying my dog ran and my dog ran, my dog slept. Yeah. But it'd be easier to just connect it to the previous sentence the way that we did before. Last thing of all was details. This is a hard one to get used to. We did some practice on how to add details to your papers, but yeah, some of y'all had some really interesting stories that just left me wanting more. You know, tell me if you could tell me more about your teachers, if you could tell me more about the reading assignments that you had, or what books you were reading that got you into reading. If you could tell me more about outcomes. Some of you guys kind of stopped your papers really quickly because you realized that 500 words actually wasn't that many words. Yeah, anything you can add to make your story more real to us is always going to be very helpful for a paper like this. All right, guys. So I'm going to open up week 5 now. Are we on week 5? No, week 4. We're on week 4. Okay, I'm going to open up week 4 now and let you guys get started on that. You will have, again, 1 week from today to go back and complete rewrites on this paper if you want to do so. As long as you fix all of the things that I pointed out, you all should be able to make A's or raise your grade otherwise. All right, see you guys in the class.